Welcome to Mysteries to Die For and this toe tag. I am TG Wolff and I'm here with Jack, my piano player and producer. This is normally a podcast where we combine storytelling with original music to put you at the heart of a mystery. Today is a bonus episode that we call a toe tag. It's the first chapter from a fresh release in the mystery, crime, or thriller genre. And today's featured release is The Guest House by Bonnie Traymore. And it's also another one of those where we're not just going to do the first chapter. You all are going to get the prologue, the first chapter, and the second chapter. All right, here we go. Prologue. One thing I've realized over the years is that not everyone has what it takes to do what's needed when the time comes. If you want something done right, you need to be prepared to do it yourself. I'm committed to reaching my goals, whatever the costs. If I could achieve them without spilling blood, of course that would be my preference. I've killed before, though, and I'll do it again if that's what it takes to succeed. But only if I have no choice. That's what separates me from the crazies. I get no pleasure out of harming people. In fact, it leaves me feeling very empty. But I won't stop until I get what I need, and I'll eliminate anyone who stands in my way. Chapter 1. Allie. I'm half awake when I feel a thud reverberate through my apartment and shake the bed. I spring up and my heart is immediately in my throat. Is this what an earthquake feels like? Grabbing my phone, I check to see if there's an alert. It's 3:17 in the morning, and there's nothing of concern on my phone, but maybe it takes a while to get the word out. I'm new to California, so I have no idea what an earthquake feels like, or if anyone even bats an eye at something like this. I hold still for a few minutes. I don't feel any more shaking. I reach for my speech processor on the nightstand. I am deaf, and without my cochlear implant, I hear nothing. Now I'm concerned there might be an intruder or some other threat lurking outside my door. The small guest house I rent sits behind a stately, expensive home, and the owners have been away for the last week. Oh, there's a boarder who rents a suite inside the main house. I thought he was still around, although it's hard to tell with him. The guy's kind of a ghost, and I don't normally run into him much. Once my speech processor is in place, I notice some kind of intermittent scraping noise outside. A tingling sensation crawls up my scalp. They have a dog, but she's not barking. And I haven't heard her all this week. Come to think of it, maybe they took her with them? I peek out my window, poised to call 911 if someone is burglarizing the house, and I spot my landlord, at least I think it's my landlord, dragging a large duffel bag across the lawn. It seems heavy and he's straining to move it. He whips his head around towards me and I quickly duck down and out of sight. Did he see me? My heart starts to race. I hear a voice, barely above a whisper. Hurry up, it says. A woman's voice? I'm terrified of the dark, so I keep the bathroom light on when I sleep. I'm hoping it's not bright enough for him to see inside my place. I lift the curtain just a hair and look out again. His back is to me, so hopefully he didn't notice me. What the hell is he doing? I thought they were away until tomorrow. Did they come home early and I didn't hear them? But this is strange. And this living arrangement made me uneasy from the start. Maybe I need to look for another place, although the thought of that puts my stomach in knots. It's a nice unit and a decent price, and the rental market is extremely tight here. Perhaps he has a good explanation for what he's doing, although I can't imagine what it could be. I double-check the deadbolt on the door, turn off the bathroom light, and get back in bed. I'm not taking my speech processor off, though, so I'm probably not going to be able to get back to sleep. I'm used to total silence. I grab my phone, hold it under my comforter, and start thumbing through apartment listings as I wait for the sun to rise. Chapter 2. Allie, 1 month earlier. I rush into Starbucks to grab a pick-me-up before I embark on my next round of apartment viewings. It's packed in here, and I need to use the bathroom, badly. I've never been to the Starbucks before. Rancho Shopping Center, according to my app. I've got a to-go order, I say to the barista. Is there a restroom in here? Over there, she says, pointing towards the other side of the cafe, past the pickup area. I'm also hungry and hot, but I'm on a tight schedule, so although I'd like to chill for a while, I need to keep going. I locate the restroom and thankfully there's no line. When I come out, I rush up to the counter to look for my drink order. I pick up a few cups that could be mine and examine them, but my latte's not ready yet. I let out a long sigh and glance at my watch. A frazzled worker glares at me but quickly softens her look. I offer her an apologetic smile, not wanting to stress her out any further. I'm surprised she heard me over the whir of blenders and the milling of the coffee grinder. They're very backed up and seem hopelessly understaffed. I worked my way through college at jobs like that, so I know exactly how she feels. And if I can't get my idea off the ground before my funding dries up, I might be right there behind the counter with her. But I can't be late for my next appointment, so if my order doesn't come up soon, I'll need to leave without it. I've just finished a 2-week boot camp along with other women in my cohort, a requirement of the organization that gave me the funding for my startup venture. I've also been looking at apartments on this visit, and I'm starting to think I might have to give up and go back to Milwaukee, at least for now, which is not an ideal option. The man standing to my right says something, but I don't catch it. I can't hear anything out of my right ear, and the background noise is making it harder. And I remind myself that this is exactly why I'm here, trying to bring my concept to market. I turn to face him so I could read his lips. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. You new in town? He asks. Yes. Is it that obvious? You went to the wrong side of the store for your pickup, he says, and you're holding a rental car key. His wandering eyes look out from a kind, almost jovial face. I glance down at the key in my hand, wondering if I should be more discreet. I don't need to advertise the fact that I'm a single woman traveling alone. You're very observant, I say. Not always, he replies. I hope he's not hitting on me. He's nearly twice my age if I had to guess. There are a lot of rich guys around here who probably can get women half their age to go out with them. He's dressed down in jeans and a t-shirt, sporting a Patek Philippe on his wrist, and not an entry-level one. Money's a compensating factor for some women, but not for me. Not for that big of an age gap. Then I notice a wedding ring and relax a little. Perhaps he's just being friendly. You looking for a place to live, he asks. Yeah. I'm in real estate, he says. Oh, I nod. That explains it. Now I'm going to get the sales pitch. I should tell him to move on and not waste his time. I'm not planning to buy, but I realize he's just doing his job. Maybe I can learn something from him. Networking in person isn't my strong suit, and I need to get better at it. Mike Tabernacle, he says. Allie Dawson, I reply. Is it just you, Allie Dawson, or do you have family? Just me. Saying that out loud makes me feel vulnerable all of a sudden. Well, he says, it just so happens we have a guest house behind our home that's become available. It's nearby, in Cupertino, just over the border from Los Altos. Perfect for a single person. Generally, I'm a trusting person, but this seems a bit too good to be true. My mind flashes to the shower scene in Psycho. That's great, thanks, but I think I may have found something. He nods as he chews on his lower lip. Allie, your order's ready, the barista calls out. Well, that's me, I say. I need to run. Nice to meet you, Mike. I offer him a fluttery wave and flash my best Midwestern girl smile. If I end up living in this neighborhood, I'll probably see him again, so I don't want to seem rude or unappreciative. Plus, he might know some venture capitalists he can introduce me to. Here, he says, take my card, in case it doesn't work out. He reaches out to me with his business card perched between his thumb and forefinger. I pluck the card from his fingers without touching them. Thanks, I say. You're welcome, Allie Dawson. Hope to see you around. I head outside and mentally prepare myself for another round of apartment viewings, trying to lower my expectations. The market's supposedly softening for renters, but it doesn't feel that way to me. And without a steady stream of income, I've been having a hard time qualifying for a place to rent. I gave up my stable job as a luxury branding specialist to pursue this opportunity. At the moment, I'm hoping it wasn't the biggest mistake of my life. It's a competitive market, and I'm sure there are a ton of prospective renters who seem more desirable, with longer track records in the area. That's why I'm a little overdressed for the occasion, and my red cap sleeve Tory Burch dress paired with strappy black sandals. I want to make a good impression and try to appear a bit more mature than my 29 years. When I open the door to my rental, a white Kia Soul, the heat inside the car hits me and nearly knocks me off my feet. It's late August, so hopefully it will cool down soon. They say it doesn't get this hot here often. Just my luck. I see heat waves radiating off the black vinyl interior. I run around the other side and open the door to air it out a little bit. I don't want to show up sweaty and disheveled. Then I shut the passenger door and head back over to the driver's side and hop in. The seat is worn, but thankfully not burning out. I sit down, strap myself in, and realize that I still have the business card in my hand. I tuck it into my wallet, start the car, crank the AC, and pull up the address on my app. Then I take one last look in the rearview mirror, apply some lipstick, and fluff my hair. I make a mental note to find a hairdresser. My dirty blonde roots are showing, and I'm badly in need of a trim. Still, I'm presentable enough. The dark circles under my eyes are gone because the loud people running the front half of my Airbnb left yesterday morning, and I finally got a good night's sleep. I'm not used to sleeping with my speech processor on, so any noise at all bothers me. I felt vulnerable sleeping without it in an unfamiliar place, though, so it seems safer to sacrifice deep sleep. Last night was better, and the extra hit of caffeine is starting to kick in. I can do this! Today's apartment search was even worse than the previous ones, probably because it's Saturday and everyone's available. I had 4 appointments, and each rental had a steady stream of prospective tenants, including the unit that was totally unacceptable to me, with no air conditioning, smelly, dog pee-soaked carpets, and a communal laundry. Even the cramped 1-bedroom suite I'm in now is better than that one, but I can't afford this Airbnb for much longer, even if I could stand sharing part of the house with a revolving door of random travelers. I'm burning too much cash and energy on this trip, and although I filled out applications at 3 apartments, I'm not holding my breath. Now, I'm taking some time to regroup. I decided to reach out to the organization that helped me with my pre-seed funding and see if they can give me some suggestions. I reach into my wallet, grab the executive director's business card, but I come up with the card that I got from Mike Tabernacki, the real estate agent I met at Starbucks, but the guest house. I pull that out instead. He's a luxury property specialist and a principal broker at a firm. Maybe he does have a pipeline of wealthy venture capitalists he can introduce me to. At the very least, I should try to connect with him on social media. But why would he be giving his card out to people at Starbucks when the rental market is this hot? Perhaps he doesn't want to deal with the parade of random strangers at his home. Or maybe he wants a single person and he can't say that in advertising because of anti-discrimination laws. I do a search and find his website. It's a small firm with 2 other agents and a few upscale listings on the site. I tell myself that I'm going to be successful an entrepreneur, I need to take some risks. If an opportunity like this dropped in my lap, maybe it's fate. Part of the success story I'll tell one day about how I was ready to give up when I found a place to live from a random guy I met at Starbucks who introduced me to so-and-so, and then it all fell into place. Am I this desperate? Yes, but I'm also not stupid. I'll make an appointment to see the unit, and I'll have my brother on the phone with me when I go see it, just in case. It'll be fine. I pull out my phone, take a deep breath, and punch in Mike's number. I'm a little surprised when it goes to voicemail and a little relieved. It would be more concerning if he was sitting around waiting for my call. Perhaps it's rented already and I missed my shot. The thought of that makes me want it more. I open up my email and start drafting a message to Meena Rao, Executive Director of Start Her, an accelerator that's sponsoring me, hoping that something comes through before I have to hang it up and head back east rather than burn through the money they gave me before I even get started. All right, so that was the prologue, chapters 1 and 2 of The Guest House. So here is my review. The Guest House is a psychological thriller. Allie Dawson, who you all just met, is on the ride of her lifetime. Her brainchild is a voice-to-caption product that has received preliminary funding, but moving from Milwaukee to Silicon Valley has brought more than the expected challenges of getting a new product to market. She's moved into a guest house where the rent was too good to be true. That should have been the first clue. Bottom line, The Guest House is for you if you like female-centric stories where the thrill and mystery are mechanisms for character growth. Alrighty, let's talk about the strengths of the story. The strengths of the story are also the unique aspects. For our hero, Allie Dawson, she is deaf, and she uses a cochlear implant, as you all just heard, that enables her to hear. Without it, she hears nothing. Allie's deafness is presented in a way that we live with it as an ordinary part of her life, which it is, similar to if she had to put contacts in the morning. I especially like this because it felt natural. It was an important thing for us to understand, especially as how it affects Allie's way that she communicates, but it isn't the most important thing to know about Allie. The most important thing is that she's courageous, willing to walk away from her comfortable life to chase a dream. And that leads us into the second strength, navigating the high-stakes and complicated world of the entrepreneur. And yes, I'm going to trip over that word every time I try to say it. Allie comes to Silicon Valley with a very good idea and a prototype in development. Her job is to find someone to finish the engineering, figure out who can manufacture it, and find a few someone's interested in funding all of the above. This is not a field that I've seen explored in many stories, giving The Guest House a fresh feel. Traymore uses a staccato storytelling style that does make you feel as if the character is reporting on their day directly to you. I have an example that comes out of chapter 2, but as all of you just heard it, I'm not going to repeat the whole thing. But it does start like, I'm also hot and hungry, but I'm on a tight schedule. Although I'd like to chill for a while, I need to keep going. It's definitely has a rhythm to it that you can really get into as you're reading. The Guest House is shown as a psychological thriller on the cover and then listed as a techno thriller on Amazon. The book meets most of the standards for a psychological thriller, with the tension coming from the mental stressors rather than physical. Overall, I found the tension to be mild, as it generated more of a creepy feeling than a nail-biting one. I think you got that from some of the early stuff here. This can be a positive or a negative, just depending on the reader's thrill scale preference. I did have to look up techno thriller, which is a subgenre where a technology is the dominant part of the story. I do not find this to be an especially good description. While Allie is trying to bring her technology to market, by her own admission, she doesn't understand the technology part. Her engineer brother and the person she ends up hiring, it's their job to do that. So while the technology concept is what gets Allie to Silicon Valley, the tech itself is not central to the story. Overall, I felt The Guest House did not fit well into a single genre category. It would fit into a combination of women's fiction, thriller, and mystery. So the women's fiction I thought was the dominant genre to me, as the story wove the growth of the alternating narrators, which is Allie Dawson and Laura Foster. Allie's part of the story did carry more of the thriller element as she becomes suspicious of her landlords and the other renter. Laura's part had more of a mystery feel as she's focused in on the potential role her stepson played in a supposedly natural death. So if this were a pie chart, I would put it about 50% women's fiction, 25% thriller, and 25% mystery. So for people who like a very multi-focused story, something that sort of defies a single category, this is a good one for you. The logic of Allie's actions, because you guys know I always check out the logic. Allie's actions themselves, they are strong. I did end up with some questions on the resolution of her storyline. The logic of Laura's actions were less clear to me, but I've learned since then that it's really rooted in the first story. So The Guest House is the second book in the Silicon Valley series. I would highly recommend reading the first book, The Step Family. The reason is that this new book continues the story of the foster family some months after the first one. And while there is a connection between Laura and Allie, Laura's company is the one providing Allie's initial funding, the stories are largely independent. Not having read the first one, I personally kept waiting for the two to intertwine. And so for you all to get a maximum enjoyment out of The Guest House, I would recommend starting with The Step Family for the context and the background. Overall, The Guest House was an easy read. Both Allie and Laura were likable and easy to cheer for, and this is a great book for readers who enjoy character-driven stories. So with that, I will say that The Guest House was released from Bonnie's own imprint, Pathway Publishing, and is promoted by Partners in Crime Tours. It's available from Amazon and other book retailers. There's a link in the show notes. Allow me to introduce you to Bonnie Traymore. She is an award-winning Amazon best-selling author of page-turner mystery and thrillers that hit close to home. Her books feature strong but relatable female protagonists. The plots explore difficult topics such as jealousy, infidelity, murder, and the impact of psychological disorders, but she also includes bits of romance and humor to lighten the mood from time to time. She has an active status member of International Thriller Writers and Mystery Writers of America. So her links are also in the show notes. You can find Bonnie on her website as well as Goodreads, BookBub, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I'm sorry, it's not Twitter, it's X. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get used to saying that. Partners in Crime Tours represents a network of 300-plus bloggers offering tailor-made virtual book tours and marketing options for crime, mystery, and thriller writers from around the world. Founded in 2011, PICT offers services for well-established and best-selling authors, as well as those of us just starting out careers. PICT prides itself on tailored packages with a personal touch from tour coordinators. For more information, check out their website, partnersincrimetours.com, and that link is also in the show notes. And then join us next week for Season 7, Games People Play. We're at Episode 19, where Pickleball is the featured game. Join us for K. George's In a Pickle. And with that, Jack, take us out.